ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, which was the chapter we were doing? Beg your pardon?
We stopped at 27, chapter 3.
I know we are meeting after a week, no?
2 weeks. We need to start verse 28, chapter.
Yes, from chapter 3, right?
Yes, Swami.
Okay. Okay, so we had seen how karma binds a person because he is deluded by the gunas of Maya. Deluded by the gunas of Maya, he takes himself to be the doer. This was the last verse, right, that we saw? Prakrite kriyamani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Just to bring back to light, to understanding. You cannot avoid having an ahankara once you are born. Born as a human being, ahankara is the most natural thing. Okay? Ahankara is the most natural. Why? I am born with self-ignorance. Therefore, even though the self is self-evident, also self-effulgent, meaning I know that I am, in spite of that, I don't know what I am. I know I am an awareful entity, but I don't know I am limitless awareness. I know I exist, but I don't know I am limitless existence. Therefore, what I am associated with, this body and mind, I get identified with and make a self-judgment with respect to that. Body and mind is only meant for functioning. But I make a self-judgment and say, I am this much only. This is the beginning of the ahankara. Then of course, lot of things can come on top of it. Okay? Lot of things can come on top. My notions, the way people have treated me, social conditionings, cultural conditionings. So many things can come on top of that. Religious conditionings, nationalistic conditionings. With all that at the end of it, with the roles I play in life, with my successes and failures, my self-judgment keeps on changing, keeps on. This is the ahankara. Then you get a different type of ahankara. I am the seeker. And you come to the Gita. And the teaching of the Gita is, you are not the seeker, you are the sought. What you want to be and what you are is one and the same thing. That is the teaching. So actually speaking, the teaching dismisses your self-judgments by revealing to you what you really are. That is what he is doing in the next verse. He is talking about the other side of the picture. Tattva vittu mahabhaho guna karma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Beautiful verse, you know. Hey Mahabhaho, hey mighty armed Arjuna. Okay. Tattvavit, the one who knows the reality. That person says, Guna karma vibhagayoho. He also understands how the gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and their products, the body, mind, etc., how they do the respective actions, and how the world is also made because of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now, what is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas? Simple. It can be quite a technical question, but to make it simple, in the world you will find inert objects, insentient objects, and in your mind there is inertia, laziness, etc. This is tamas. In the world you will find the infrastructure for action: gravity, centripetal forces, weak force, strong force, nuclear forces, all that you will find. Magnetic force. In your mind, you will find desires, ragas, dveshas, dislikes, that impel you to action. Love, hatred, all of them. All of them that impel you to action, raga, dvesha especially, is rajas. Outside you will find objects of knowledge, things to be known, principles to be discovered, scientific, economic, social, philosophical, spiritual. Inside you have knowledge, the ability to know. All that is called sattva. So look at it. One sattva, rajas, tamas here interacts with the sattva, rajas, tamas outside. This is the fact. The inside sattva, rajas, tamas is enlivened by the presence of consciousness. Outside also consciousness is there, but they are too inert. The preponderance of tamas is too high, therefore they are not enlivened by the consciousness. Therefore they are inert. But gunaha here, guneshu out there, vartante. Guna guneshu vartante. This is the fact. And what are you as consciousness? What are you as consciousness? I do nothing. In my presence, sattva, rajas, tamas gets enlivened. What can I do about it? I am like the sun that shines, and the flower opens up. And the flower opens up. I mean, romantically, poetically, I can put, kissed by the morning rays of the sun. Kissed by the morning rays of the sun. The flower opened herself. That's a romantic way of putting it. Factually, in the presence of the sun, the flower will open up, will bloom. Simple as that. The sun doesn't have to go and woo every flower, every tree, every branch, it doesn't have to do that. Sun just has to be there. That's it. Similarly, in the presence of me, the consciousness, body, mind, etc. becomes alive. They are enlivened. And they function in their respective fields. Therefore he says, guna guneshu vartante iti matva, matva meaning jnatva, having known, na sajjate, is not caught up in anything. I am not the karta, the doer. Therefore, bhoga of karma phala is not there. Bhoga of karma phala is definitely there for the body, that is fine. So what? There for the mind, so what? Not for me. I am independent of that. I am independent of that. If you are drinking a hot cup of tea, like how I like hot cup of tea, it has to be nice and hot, and I spill it on my kurta, and the host who gave me the cup of tea is sitting right there. So, oh Swamiji, are you burnt? I said, no. My kurta, it has fallen on, not on me. Isn't it true? I'm okay. Only my kurta. which if I immediately watch, no problem. So similarly, karma phala belongs to the body and mind, not to me. Iti matva na sajjate, I am not caught up in it. Body and mind does its things and gets karma phala, not me. I am just witnessing the whole thing happening. When, not in the seat of meditation, when I am actually involved in action, whether I am talking with people I love or fighting a major battle on the LOC, aham kimapi na karomi. I do nothing. I am free. Doing, I am free. All this we will see again in the 4th chapter, etc. He talks about it in greater detail. But he says, iti matva na sajjate, is not caught up. Clear up to now? Or do you need more elaboration? Please respond, because I can't see you all, so I don't know whether you understood or not. Clear. Okay. Fine. It is clear. Great. Okay. Don't worry. It will become clearer as we go ahead. Okay. If a couple of people are hesitating to say that, no problems. As we go, things will become more and more clear. Okay. Prakritehe guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu tan akrishna vidaha mandan krishna vidna vichalayet. You know, when we study these things and we first discover our independence from the whole thing, that I am untouched by hurt, by anything that I do or anything that I receive, that means hurt, guilt, pain, etc. Really speaking, I am free from all of them. We get into this missionary zeal and we want to convert everybody, the whole world, to this way of thinking. Yeah, it's good. It is good to see that this knowledge reaches everyone. That's good to see. So if some of you are really keen, then help us in our outreach programs. We will be very grateful to you. Okay? And you will be doing a good job. But one has to be careful. We are not missionaries. We are not out to convert the world. Why? Look at what Krishna says here. Prakritehe guna sammudaha. The people who are sammudaha, deluded by the gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. In short, avidya, self-ignorance. Sajjante guna karmasu, is caught up in the guna and the karma and everything. They are caught up in the stress and strain of modern living. If you have nothing to do, it is more stressful. Lockdown, people are sitting at home, it becomes more stressful. Yeah. Okay, guna karmasu sajjante. Like somebody told me, Swamiji, I lost 15 kilos. I said, what's wrong with you? No, I never used to cooking. I said, what the hell? Learn, na? Learn to make a khichdi. Yeah. So you have been sort of eating some fruits and this and that. What is this? 15 kilos you are losing in 3 months? Unhealthy. Yeah, if you need to lose, that's a different thing. If you are obese and you are losing, it's a different thing. But this is not the way to lose. More stressed. Okay. Why? Sajjante guna karmasu. Sajjante guna karmasu. Okay. Tan, those people, akrishna vidaha, who don't have the whole picture what the reality is about. Mandan, little bit less in their thinking, because they are not thought about this. They thought about the world but not about themselves. Therefore, mandan. Okay. Krishnavid, the one who knows everything, he has the big picture. That person, na vichalayet, don't confuse them. Don't confuse them. If you can bring them to the teaching and help them, that's fine. Yeah, that's a different thing, because then the whole picture is going to be clear. But Don't get onto this conversion spree that where you want to convert everyone to your line of thinking. That's not correct. That's not correct. You'll only end up with confused people. Okay? Like I've seen some people going about and saying, the reality is free from Ishvara also. Not true. It's a wrong understanding. Therefore, what is the point of all this puja and everything? Study Vedanta, that's enough. No, that puja, that grace that you earn from all that is necessary. Some amount of worship, some amount of japa, some amount of meditation is good. But no, all that is not necessary. What do you end up with? Nothing. Nothing. Neither here nor there. Ubhaya brashta, in the words of the Gita, which will come later. Neither here nor there. That's not what you want to become. Therefore, he says, now it's a caution. It's a caution for all of us, because when we have been blessed with this knowledge, it is natural to see that all the people whom we know will want it. They may not be ready for it. They may not be ready for it. Like I remember a friend of mine who joined with Swamiji some 15 years after I had joined, 3 batches down the line, 15 years down the line, she joined as a full-time student, became a teacher. Then she's telling her kid sister, this is what's all about, moksha, freedom from birth and death and all that thing. And that kid turns around and tells her, I'm not interested. I want to enjoy life. I want to have a few more births, at least 3 more before I come to Vedanta. Now you can question that statement, but that's not the idea. The idea is that she is not ready for it. You present them a possibility of being exposed to a teaching, nothing more. Like what we do in our Reach Out programs, in our Vedic Wisdom Festival, etc. We show the possibility of what you can be. Up to you to take the ball and run. A few from that will join the class. There's always be a few. Why? Because we are not running a conversion program. Okay, that's easy to do, but that's not our job. Therefore, he says, now you have the big picture now. You know what the world is about. You know what you are. You know the roles that you are playing in life. In keeping with this whole thing, Arjuna, what are you going to do? Here, look at what he's saying. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvaraha. The translations can be very funny sometimes. Okay, this translation is not bad. Vigatajvara, without fever. Okay. He says, My sarvani karmani, to me, in me, all actions, sanyasya, giving up, renouncing. How? Adhyatma chetasa. This adhyatma chetasa can be taken in 2 ways. One, because you know the truth, that you don't do any action. It is Ishvara's order that's functioning. Or, as a karma yogi, you still in the process of learning and getting that knowledge. Therefore, offering them to me, Ishvara arpana buddhya, adhyatma chetasa, nirashi, without asha. Without asha means hope. No, not hopeless. Without any longings. Okay, success or failure, who knows? Who can predict the outcome of a battle? Who can predict your survival in a battle? Who can predict that? Nobody knows. People, I know people who have been in situations where they should have died. No chance of survival. But they have come out walking with minor scrapes, bruises. And people who are sitting pretty, sitting safe, dead. Both are prasada. And the prasada. Therefore, nirashihi, without that longing, because Arjuna is going to face a battle. You can't enter a battle with a longing that, hey, I must live, I must live. You can't. Why? Then you won't take the action that may be necessary. Won't take the action that is necessary. War is a different ball game altogether. That's why these are all jokes among us service people, people who are served in some form or the other. What is the difference between a civilian and a soldier? Or between a trained and an untrained person? Well, the civilian or the untrained person, if he hears gunfire, he will run away from it, run away from danger. If a soldier or a trained person hears gunfire, he will run towards it to see how to handle it. That's what is expected. Therefore, you can't even enter a battle hoping that you will live in God's hand. Tekta jivita. See, I am not entering a battle wanting to die. No. I am entering the battle without fear of death. If I live, God's grace. If I die, God's grace. Both are God's grace. Nirashi, nirmamaha. This whole idea that you had, Arjuna, that these are all mine, mine, mine. Nobody is yours. You are everything. That is the truth. If you can't understand that, in this lifetime, he is your brother, she is your lover, he is your enemy. In a previous lifetime, it may have been different. In the next lifetime, it will be different again. This is only for now, here. Friends becomes foes, foes become friends. That is politics. In business as in politics, there are no permanent foes, there are no permanent enemies. Pakistan, one of our greatest enemies. Hey, 75 years back, we were brothers here. What are you talking about? Same country. China and us. China and us have a shared spiritual heritage. Chinese masters always came to India seeking for wisdom. So the last 60, 70 years we have become enemies, no? After 1962. Before that we are saying ini, chini, bhai, and going around. So after 62 we became enemies. No? It's okay. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Therefore, nirashi, nirmamaha. Nothing is mine. Betrayed, etc. That's their job. They do their job. We do our job. Swamiji, does that mean we have to forgive all the terrorists? Well, forgiving the terrorists is God's job. Once upon a time, my job was to set an appointment with God with them. Okay. Not now. Now I am a monk. Yeah. Who am I to forgive? It's God. I will let go. I will do what is necessary. That's it. Therefore, nirashi nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvaraha. Yuddhasva. Fight. Without anger, without hatred, without frustration. Calm, centered, cool. With all the motivation, all the power and all the energy that you have. Fight. That's it. Advice to Arjuna. Advice to all of us in our life. Advice to all of us. Yeah. This is what we are. This is how we function. This is how we do. This is how we win or lose. Doesn't matter. This is it. This is it. Tell me, who can contend with a person like this? Who can really contend? Yeah. Who can really contend? Yeah. Even death, you will welcome with open arms. Living, of course, you'll welcome with open arms. Both are fine. Both are great. And now, if you want to put it in the bhakti language, you can put the same thing. I play this game with the Lord. With Ishwar, I play this game of love. What is that? If I win, he is mine. If I lose, I'm his. Okay, it's a game of love I play. You want to put language of bhakti, here it is. Okay, here is the language of bhakti. Win or lose is fine, doesn't matter. That is it. Okay. Then, but what is the necessity for acting? If you know the truth, that I am limitless awareness, etc., is there any necessity for action? No. Mauni Baba Banja, there is no necessity for teaching also. Mauni Baba Banja. Be a Mauni, sit in some corner, or go about the world as a normal person. It doesn't matter what you do. But keeping Arjuna's position in you, because the responsibility is heavy. He is carrying the load of the Pandavas on his shoulders. Therefore, Krishna advises him to fight. That's all. Doesn't have to. If Arjuna had told Krishna, Guru, please forgive me. After this, I don't want to fight anymore. Now I am going to Rishikesh to spend my time in contemplation. That's it. Krishna said, okay, Baba, go. I will take care of things. But Arjuna's role was not that. That is not the role he is supposed to play now. That came 36 years later after the battle. Okay, not now. Therefore, Krishna is giving his own example, talking about both. You can take it as a human being and Ishvara. Generally, Krishna is presented in the Gita and the whole of Mahabharata as Ishvara. Okay, therefore, here it is. Ussiyedeyuhu ime lokaha na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyumam imam prajaha. He says, na kuryam karma chedaham, if I were not to act. If I were not to act. He says, Utsyediyuhu ime lokaha. Ime lokaha, these worlds will be destroyed, will be uprooted. They would perish. Sankarasya chakar, this is as Ishvara. If Ishvara is not going to keep the order going, the cosmic order, if that is not going to be there, there will be only pralaya, finished, everything is over, one flat. That will happen after 20,000 years. Water world, etc. is going to happen. But there are 20,000 years left for it. Okay. Therefore, because that's also part of the order. Okay. Therefore, Ussiriyuhu imeno. And if I as a human being didn't function, Sankarasya cha kartaham, there will be greater confusion in the society. As it is, yes, as it is, the society was confused at that time. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm very, very sorry. The page didn't get turned. Okay. Therefore, I repeated the 24th verse. I don't know what's happening to me. Sankarasya cha kartaham, what to do? Okay. Therefore, Vigata Swara, he had said last time. Okay. All right. Therefore, we are at verse 31 now. 30th I have just completed. Vigata Jvara. That without this, that's why when I change the play, where 31 is 24, they are same position. So when I change it, I said I was puzzled for a minute, thinking, what is this? I think I have done this, but okay. This only shows that even alert people can have moments of tamas overtaking them and lack of alertness coming in. That's what you have to guard against, okay? If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Okay. Therefore, Vigata Jwaraha. Thanks Nirmala and Sunita for pointing it out to me. Thank you. Okay. All right. Therefore, he says, Vigata Jwaraha. Fight the battle, because that's what is expected of you. That is what your role is about. Okay. The whole Mahabharata battle, on the Pandava side, their hopes are resting on Arjuna. It's only Arjuna who will be able to stand up to 3 great warriors from the other side. Nobody else. Drishtadyumna was the commander-in-chief of the Pandava forces. And by fate, he is born, by karma, he is born to kill Drona. That is true. But everyone knows, if there is anyone has a chance to stand up to Bhishma, Drona and Karna, it is only Arjuna. Nobody else. Nobody else. And that is revealed in the war later on. It's only Arjuna who could fight a holding battle against all of them. Bhishma he had to kill because Bhishma showed him how to kill him. Drona, invincible. Why? He is a master. Who can touch the master? Who can touch the master? Yeah, in any field. Though we say, the masters will say, yes, your rival the master, etc. They will say, that is a nice way of them saying it. Yeah, that is a nice way of saying it. Yeah. Or students in their excessive praise. I had students come in, you are no less than Swamiji, your guru. I said, yeah, I know. I know where I fall short and I know where he is head and shoulders above me. So similarly Drona. Therefore there was a way of going around him, had to be done. Karna, only Arjuna could have handled him, nobody else. Okay? And so many other warriors on that side. All the great Maharathis. It was Arjuna's job. Therefore a lot was resting on Arjuna's shoulders. Okay? Therefore that addressed to him without any longing, without any this, just because Ishvara Arpana, as Ishvara Arpana karma, do it, fight that war. That's it. Anyway, you have the big picture. What's your problem? You know there is neither birth nor death. You know that you are the limitless consciousness. Once you know that, what is the issue? And you know all of them are the same reality. What is the issue then? Fight. Right. Ye me matamidham nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavantaha anasuyantaha uchyante tepi karmabhihi. Ye me matamidham, idam matam, idam me matam, this teaching of mine. Now there will be many who have come to the Gita, and up to now they don't know the truth yet, but they are on track. Okay. Therefore, nityam anutishtanti, manava. Those people who nityam anutishtanti, they are learning and trying to understand the truth. They are learning and trying to understand. It's an ongoing. It seems like an ongoing process. Every day they are getting some more clarity. Okay. Shraddhavantaha, he says. There is a trust, because they are getting insights in the teaching. There is a trust that they will stick to the teaching, they will get it. The trust is there in the teacher, true, but it is more in the pramana, the means of knowledge. All that we have seen, you have to respect the teaching as much as you would respect your eyes. That's what Shraddhavanta means. If I ask you, do you have change for 100 rupees in your wallet? You don't know. But you know one thing for sure. If with your eyes you look into the wallet, you will know whether there is change or not. That there is no doubt. Whether there is change or not is a doubt. But if you look, you will know. You may doubt your limitless consciousness, but one thing you know for sure. If you look into the pages of the Gita, if you study the Upanishads, you will know. That is called Shraddha. That trust, that confidence is Shraddha. Not faith, not belief. They are loose words. Shraddhavantaha. Anasuyantaha. This Anusuya. Okay. Anusuya is generally translated as jealousy, etc. Nobody really is jealous of their teacher or the teaching. But it is like cribbing about it, finding fault about it. Why is it say like that? Why should he be so critical? Because the teacher's job sometimes is to dismiss a belief. Unfortunately, that may be your pet belief. So now you have a choice to examine what the guru has said, to examine what the teacher has said, or to get hurt. Choice is yours. Sometimes the teacher doesn't even know it is your pet belief, because he doesn't know everyone very personally. Like in my class, the new class that all of you are, the old students I know personally. Some of the new ones also I know personally. New ones I know personally. So there, etc. I can make out. Others I may not even know. But I may make a statement here dismissing a belief, because that belief can be an obstacle to you knowing the truth. So now you have a choice. Examine the validity of that teaching, or get hurt and crib against the teacher. He is like that. He is fanatical. He doesn't understand what liberal background means. You can say that. And if you say all that, it may not even come back to me. I may not even know you all are saying that. So then I am not affected by it. Even if I know, I am not affected by it. Okay. Okay. Even if I know I am not affected by it. If I don't know, definitely I am not affected by it. Then what? Whom does it affect? The student. It affects the students only. I mean, this is something that will happen everywhere, irrespective of how many years you have been studying. This can happen. Yeah. Therefore, that cribbing, complaining mind with respect to the Shastra and the teacher, drop it. That's what Krishna is saying here, no? Shraddhavantaha anusuyantaha. Without that cribbing, without choosing to get hurt. You can always talk to the teacher if something he has said has hurt you, so that, because his intention was never to hurt. You can always discuss with him. Yeah. Like, once I made a statement. Hey, come on, have some focus on life. Don't run around like a headless chicken. And there was someone sitting in my class who were involved in a dozen activities. A dozen activities. And all for the sake of health, okay? Dozen activities for the sake of health. Where one or two will do the job. So that person got upset. But had the grace to come and talk to me. So I could explain things, put it in perspective. There is some little trouble with the connection. Sorry guys, there is some little trouble with the connection today, okay? It keeps dropping. I don't know why. It does not happen usually. It doesn't happen, but there is some problem. So, this is the thing. And this will happen with every teacher and every student. My guru has been dismissive of me sometimes. But I know one thing. I knew one thing for sure. My guru had a tendency to be dismissive, but there was truth in what he is saying. And if I examine that, I will benefit from that. Sometimes in public, you don't have a place to hide. You dismiss. That's okay. That's part of the game. All right, you can take it in your stride. Yeah, you can take it in your stride. Okay. So, anusuyanta. Therefore, Shraddhavantah anusuyantah muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Tebi karmabhihi muchyante. They also will become free in time, he says. In time. Because it will take some time to learn, no? To go through the whole 7 verses of the Gita, 18 chapters. We are still in the 3rd chapter only. So, in time, they also will become free, he says. Okay. Then what about the flip side? Ye tu etad abhusuyantah nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudaha tan vidhi nashta chetasaha. Ye tu etad abhusuyantah. This teaching of mine, abhusuyantah. They crib about it, they complain against it. They dismiss it as superstition. They dismiss it as old and not valid. They dismiss it as warmongering. They dismiss it as not valid anymore in today's world. Abhisuyanta. Na anutashtanti me matam. This teaching of mine, they don't follow it. They don't try to understand and live it. Sarvajnana vimudaha. Sarvajnana vimudaha. They are deluded. They are deluded in all ways, he says. Tan vidhi nashta chetasaha, he says. Can you all hear me now? Yeah. Tan vidhi nashta chetasaha. Understand that you are void of thinking, he says. No? You are devoid of thinking. Because look at it. Who is a miser? The one who has money but not enough, not willing to spend it on himself or others, isn't it? Isn't this a miser? Correct or not? Yes or no? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please respond to my questions, okay? Similarly, we all have thinking. And the highest knowledge you can get is self-knowledge. And that you are not doing. Therefore, you have the ability to know, but you are not knowing, you are not choosing not to know. What is the point of your thinking? That's the point. You may achieve some greatness also, some success, some greatness you will achieve. But will you be really a happy, fulfilled being? No. Some money you will get, some name you will get, some power you will get, some position you will get. Accept it. For that you don't need Vedanta. You don't need the Gita for that. Though the Gita can help you get there, but you don't need it for that. But if you want to be a fulfilled being, none of the things you are doing will give you that. That only the Gita, the Upanishads, the Vedanta will give you that. Nothing else. In any form, in any culture, if this knowledge is there, that's fine. It will give you that. Therefore, he says, otherwise, nashta chetasa. And there are enough people like that. They come to a teacher. And you can always question a teacher. There is no problem. There is not a single teacher in the world who says, don't question me. If he says, don't question me, he is not a teacher. But the question is, are you questioning to understand, or are you questioning for the heck of it to dismiss the guy? Question to understand, okay? Yeah. You mean to say the teacher will not debate or discuss? Of course the teacher can debate. In fact, as a teacher, I cannot, if somebody comes and asks me for a debate, I cannot say no. I don't have the right to say no for a debate. At the same time, There are rules for the debate. A debate, what we call as a vada, is between two equals. What is that guy's expertise to debate on such matter with me? Minimum, a doctorate in philosophy. Minimum. Though I don't think that's a great qualification. A doctorate in philosophy makes you useless for anything in life. What are you going to do? A doctorate in economics, you can work in the field of economics, you can do some good in the society. In science, a lot of good can be done. In physics, etc., a lot of things can be done. Doctorate in philosophy. You're only fit to teach in an academic setup, to create more doctors who can only fit to create teachers. What are you going to do? None of them know the truth about themselves anyway. How do you say that? I know a lot of doctorates in philosophy, okay. Unless they are exposed to traditional learning, they will not know the truth. In fact, one of my students, she became my student later, she finished her master's in philosophy and went to her teacher and said, I want to do my doctorate. So the teacher was a very informed person, another lady. So she asked her, why do you want to do your doctorate? It's a good ambition, but why? Because I want to know the truth. Then forget your doctorate. Go find a regular, proper traditional teacher and learn from him or her. I said, I'm impressed by your teacher. That she saw the limitation of her doctorate. Said, if you want to be in academics, please have a doctorate. But if you want to know the truth, find a traditional teacher. Therefore, a teacher is open for debate provided the other person has something to debate with. That's important, no? That's important. Are you having something to debate with? Though I won't dismiss a person saying you are not qualified to debate. No. I will ask some relevant questions and then I'll say when you can answer that question, come back and we'll have a debate. That's what I will do very often. It's not that I am not used to debating. We have taken part in Shastrartha, things like that. Every teacher will do things like that. That's not a problem. Okay, that's not a problem. But the questioning, teachers only want to be understood. No? Otherwise, why are you questioning? To understand. So that much is fine. Therefore, questioning is always fine. Even some discussion is great. Even some debating is good, as long as the aim is to come to a better understanding. But why do people behave like that? Next verse. Sadrisham cheshate swasya prakrite jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Okay. Very beautiful verse. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya. Swasya, your own. Similars you look for, he says. Meaning, what is inside, you look for outside. What is the things inside? I want fun, you look for fun. Okay. If you have the need for fun inside, you look for where is the party tonight. You are not going to come for a Vedanta class. Sadrisham cheshtate. Okay. You earn money, etc. Lots of it. Then you look for education, business, work, etc. in that field. Not this sadrisham cheshta. Prakritehe sadrisham, by your own nature, what is inside you. Jnanavan api. Jnanavan means not someone who knows the reality, but well informed people, educated people, very well informed. Sadrisham cheshta. Even Jnanavan, let us say here is a wise person. At the end of the day, I said I have taken 3 classes today, enough of intellectual activity. Let me see what is there on TV. I find American Idol, music, singing. MMA, mixed martial arts. Okay, what is that? Why? Sadrisham, what do you love, you'll want to see, na? What do you love, you'll want to see. Sadrisham cheshtate. Jnanavanapi. Therefore he says, Prakritim yanti bhutani. Their own prakriti is inside, what is there inside? Drags you away. Nigraha kim karishyati. Just mere control, what will it do? He says. Mere control, what will it do? Like that girl who said, I want to have a few more lifetimes of enjoyment before I come to Vedanta. What can any control do? If her elder sister is going to say, no, you sit here and study. I am telling you, you better study. If the kid is kind or submissive, she may sit down and listen. But do you think anything will go inside? Sadrisham cheshtate. In fact, the teacher will tell, all of us are looking for Ananda in life. It's Ananda that has to be sought of. That's right. Khao, piyo, maja karo, aur kya karne ka hai? Ananda. Are you getting it? The teaching will be distorted in their minds. The teaching will go in distorted through the ragadveshas. The teacher will say, you have to work for freedom from guilt and pain. Correct. I don't have to be guilty at anything I do. The whole thing will be converted, distorted. By Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Your own nature. Okay. Therefore, what should be done? Jane do. Let them go. Where will they go anyway? Let them be on their trip for some time. Let them be on their trip. Let them go around. And when they find that enough of all that, or it is not working enough, or I am not fully satisfied with it, I want more out of life. Remember, I want more out of life. Then they may be open to something like this. Either this lifetime or next lifetime. What's the problem? But next lifetime, Swamiji, you won't be there. My students will be there. What's the problem? I'm sure some of my students will become teachers as well. Two already have. Therefore, not a problem. Yeah. So, not a problem. Yeah. So, it will always happen. Are you getting the idea that this will always work like that? Nigraha kim karishyati. No amount of control is going to work on that, and that's not the way to go about it. If I have ragadveshas and I want to grow, then a life of karma yoga. It is, see, now this is not to dismiss people and say, therefore gone. If your desires inside, you're gone, you're finished. You can't be a student of Vedanta. No. The more desires you have and more this thing you feel, that means you're feeling your sense of finitude well. That means you're ready to look for something more. You had a lot of desires. Lot of desires means what? The desires that you have fulfilled has not done their job. Therefore you have picked up some more. That means what? You're looking for more than what the desires can fulfill. Therefore, pick and choose those desires which are harmony with your priorities. Live a life of karma yoga, fulfilling them, and seek the truth along with it. It is not that knowledge is denied to you. Knowledge is never denied. It's always available. Jnana Ganga is Nityam. It's always there. Either as an undercurrent in the society or right out, depending upon the conditions of the society. Yeah. So, it's not that anybody is denied that knowledge. Just because your prakriti is like that. Yeah, I had a student who every day would come and introduce me. Every month he will have a new girlfriend. A new girlfriend. This is how he was. So every month he'll come in, Swamiji, meet my girlfriend. I said, somebody else last time, no? This is current. So every month he had a new girlfriend. He was young. So I put him through my workshops, etc. Prakritim yanti bhutani. What is the workshops about? Love and relationships, you want to attend? Definitely. About being successful in life, oh yes, definitely. Okay. So came through the workshops, etc. I never thought about these things. Yes, I had never thought about these things. Yeah. So I never thought about these things. So now you're thinking. Yeah. Now you're thinking. Therefore, what happened then? Then, in time, the growth happened. So now you started Vedanta, etc. Yeah. Growth will happen, na? When the growth happens, things will work out. Therefore, nobody is denied the knowledge. Now, some people, some teachers, there may be some teachers who are very contemporary, therefore will take workshops, this, that, etc. to help the student grow much more. There may be some teachers who are not that contemporary, therefore may not do those things. But still, one-to-one they can handle it. One-to-one they'll be able to handle it. So that depends on what type of a teacher you're going to. That's okay. The knowledge is never denied to anyone. Everyone can get this knowledge. There is no reason anyone can get this knowledge. In fact, the Upanishad makes a statement. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. This person, is he an Acharyavan? Does he have an Acharya? A teacher? Yes. Then he will know the truth. But he doesn't know the truth. It's okay. In time he will know. Why? If he is willing. Now Acharyavan is different. Like Dhanavan. If I have $5 in my pocket, I don't become Dhanavan. Everyone sitting in this class is worth 1 crore of rupees or no at least. If you have a flat in Bombay, you are worth a couple of crores. That doesn't make you Dhanavan. If you have maybe a flat in Bombay and 100 crores, Dhanavan. Similarly, Acharyavan means what? If the teacher thinks of you as a Sishya, Siksha Yogya, how you deserve to be taught. If that is how you are, you will know the truth. Or as a Sishya, I am not yet a Sishya. I have a lot of growing up to do. But I am willing to commit myself to do what it takes. If that's what you are, you will know the truth. There is no way that you cannot know the truth. Why? The truth is yourself. The knower is you. The pramana, the means of knowledge, the teaching is available. How can knowledge not take place? It is like this, as an example. I am holding a watch in my hand, a wristwatch. The watch is there. You, the knower, is there. The means of knowing, your eyes are there. How can you not know the watch? Of course you will know it. There is no way you can deny yourself the knowledge of the watch. Similarly, you, the knower, is there. The object of knowledge, the self, the subject is there. The pramana, the teaching for knowing the truth is there. How can you not know it? Samajhi my mind? Yeah, fine tune it. That's true. Fine tune it. That's why he's saying all these things. Therefore, there is no reason anyone cannot know the truth. Okay? Okay. So, good place to stop. Okay. Next class, we will go further. Okay. If there are any questions, shoot. Otherwise, good place to stop. Any questions? Okay. Then see you guys next time. Thank you. Oh.